creative friends. My name is Joey Balestrieri. Welcome to my work table. I am working with some of the beads from this month's Bargain Bead Box. It was called Peach Sorbet. And I just have to tell you guys, I finished my first project in my unboxing, and this is what I was working with, and I had to go to the hospital and spend the night with my son in the hospital. And I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning in a little twin bed next to his hospital bed thinking about this project. Oh my goodness, creating and designing and my jewelry art is just over and over again proves to be a source of joy and a coping mechanism. So I was laying there thinking, oh, I'm going to do that bracelet when I get home. So that's what I'm working on today. And I'm also going to do a coordinating pair of earrings. And I'll show you what I have taken from the box. But before I do that, I just also wanted to share with you, I have a friend, if you're a comment reader, you might have seen her. Her name is Gail. You might have seen her comments. But I got, right before I left for this hospital trip, I got this beautiful little summer card, just a friendship gift. She said, this is your colors. I made this for you. So she does the most beautiful bead weaving, and she knows that I have chains and leather cord that I like to change my pendants out for. So she did this for me and just popped it in the mail. And she doesn't live that far from me, but it's so lovely to have beading friends. So I just wanted to show you how gorgeous this is. I mean, I literally grabbed the phone and called her immediately. I didn't even text because I just love it so much. And she does such beautiful work. So I just wanted to share that. It just made me so happy. It's so nice to have beading and creative friends. So I'm going to be using a little piece of the medium all-purpose 49 strand soft flex, and I'm using the bone color because these peach lampwork beads are just absolutely amazing. To me, they're just so feminine and ethereal. And if you can see the base color, it's like that peaches and cream, and then it has an opaque to clear, like very dimensional little glass petals that are blown and attached right on top of that base color, and I just love them. And I also love these leaves. They're so dimensional as well. They have just a variation in the color as well as the little leaf veining and kind of the shape. Even though it's glass, it's just amazing. And I've just pulled a few little spacers and things from my stash, and then in the box there was a 7.5-inch strand of these synthetic moonstone beads in the apricot color. These are also known as mermaid glass, but look at the flash and bling in this strand, plus that color is absolutely perfect. And then I've also cut apart the rhodonite strand and like hand selected two matching colors because there was some color variation for my earrings, and then I hand selected two that I just loved the color with the peaches and apricots, and then two for my charms that are going to go on my bracelet. So I'm going to cut these apart, and this is basically going to be a simple stringing project with magical crimps on the end. Sometimes beads will, I don't know, you guys tell me if you're like this. Sometimes beads just feel like they can stand alone. And in this case, that's what I think. I think because of the gorgeous feminine ethereal color and because of these stunning lampwork beads, I just felt like a single line bracelet. Like on this collection of beads, it felt like these made more of a statement in a multi-strand bracelet and kind of like playing together the colors and shapes. But in this case, I just really kind of see this as a single line bracelet, but I do want it to have a little bit of dimension. So I'm going to experiment with how I attach the leaves in my stringing. So I am going to start off by putting a crimp on one end of my soft flex. So this is a number 2 crimp tube, also from Soft Flex. I really like their crimp tubes. There are others that work really well with the magical crimper, and you know, it's good to have a good crimp tube. It's the secret of success with the magical crimping plier. With cheap like wall. I don't know. Sometimes I'm never sure if the camera can show, but let me see if it will focus. Can you see how thick the walls of this crimp tube are? That is really the secret to the magical crimping plier giving you a perfect little bead. If you use cheap ones, they can break even with a regular fold over method. And then the other secret is just to go slowly and make sure that you feel that your crimp tube is centered in the only divot in this magical crimping plier. And when it is, you just close it. And when you look, you've made like the shape of a ravioli where you can literally see that the four corners are pinched. And then I'm going to do that same thing again, fit it in, but this time in the opposite direction, and just making sure that I feel that it's snuggled right into the middle of that divot. And then you close it in that direction. And then you just rotate your work or the pliers, whatever's easiest, gently, maybe not so gently, opening and closing the magical crimping plier on that tube. And you just keep going. I do it a few times until it feels like I'm not doing anything anymore. And when you open it, when you take the plier away, you have this really perfect little bead. It's such a lovely professional way to crimp. And so now I'm just going to start stringing, and I have pulled out some little bead caps that are like in the shape of a lotus flower or flower petals. I love that these beads have a hole large enough to accommodate both strands of my bead stringing wire, because I always think it looks nicer to trim your wire, your cut ends down here away from where your clasp is going to be. And I've also pulled out a few of these little disc spacers. Oh, and also I have some gold filled spacer beads in 2 sizes. Let me put a few of those out here. These are an Amazon find, and they are so nice. They had really good reviews, and I have been using them in my designs for a few months. And I really hope they don't tarnish, but they have a nice weight to them, and I just love the different sizes and being able to add that little pop of gold. So I'm just going to play with my pattern a little bit, and I'm thinking that I want to do, I tend to like to do, I do both. I do symmetrical and asymmetrical, but I think I want to string my little moonstone beads about 2/3 of the way and have my lamp work focal section being down here at the 1/3 mark. So I'm going to go with that. For me, when I get started, I just love playing with my beads and creating my patterns like this. So there's sometimes for me is a little bit of on and off as I do my bead stringing. Oh my gosh, look at those beads. They are absolutely stunning, and I love that I may not even use these beads because I love the way those little discs are just spacing these out perfectly. I really love the way that looks. How stunning is that? So before I crimp this off, I'm going to experiment with attaching these leaves in a little jump ring art in between the 2 lamp work beads with those kind of flower petals on the end. Let me string a couple more of these moonstone beads to get to my length. Let's see. Go a couple more. Okay, I also have this little selection of gold filled diamond cut jump rings. This is also an Amazon find, and this little set came in like 3 sizes in here. There's a large one, a medium one, and a small one. And let's see, I think I'm going to get 2 of the small ones and maybe a medium. Let me try that. Okay, so I think I'm going to use maybe the large one. I might go down to the medium one in between my two flower beads here, and I will need to put a jump ring on each of the leaves as well, but I'm going to have to do some that I've made, because these jump rings, these gold filled jump rings, they are, let me show you, they have a nice thickness to them, and so they don't fit through these holes. So I'm going to just grab some of my handmade jump rings, and these are out of 20 gauge wire that has an anti-tarnish coating, and it'll be thin enough, I believe, to go through. And I have like some 5mm. I kind of make these with my bail making pliers and keep them in a little bag, so I know those are mine that are handmade. And just let me get one of these on each of those leaves. Okay, let's see how we feel about that. So this is typical when I do like a cluster with leaves and flowers. It's typical that when the bracelet is like this, it looks like it's not going to work. But when you put this on your body, your body actually makes it work beautifully, makes it, you know, it holds them up. But I think that I can go down to the medium size jump ring for this. Okay, let's see if that's a little bit better. Much better. Much better. Then it just makes those leaves sit beautifully in between those lampwork flowers. Oh my goodness, this isn't even done and I already love it. I am going to be putting a clasp on that I had in my stash from the sister website to Bargain Bead Box. It's called Bead Box Bargains. This is an 18 karat gold plated brass clasp, but it's in a little leaf pattern, so I thought it would be really lovely since I'm putting leaves and flowers on this bracelet. So I just have this pretty little toggle clasp, and it comes with a jump ring, so I can put one jump ring on one side for the ring. Let's see if it fits. These have such a thickness to the gauge that some things I have found they don't really fit through, and yep, that's one of them. So I'll go back to my little bag of handmade jump rings for the other end of the toggle. Okay, I had a little interruption, but I'm back. We're going to crimp this end. This end, when you're crimping, you do have to pay attention to your spacing and that your piece is not rigid. So I'm going to feed on that crimp tube. This can give you a little bit of leverage, but I do find that if I pull too hard, sometimes I can destroy that jump ring. And I'm just going to do the same thing. Feed this wire back through the crimp tube and then down through a few beads. Just make sure that everything is as I want it. In fact, I'm going to grab a hold of the jump ring with my pliers so that I don't damage it, but I can pull on my bead stringing wire. And here's where I want to just look and make sure that I don't have any weird spaces, but also that this is not so tight that, you know, it's not fluid going around my body. I think I am pretty happy with that. And so now we can do the same exact thing. Fit this little tube into this well in the magical crimping plier. Just take your time. Make sure that it's in the center so that when you smash down, you have the beginning of your crimp and that you're not just damaging the tube. That looks pretty good. Close it down. Opposite direction. And now just go around and turn it into a bead. And I will say this is a really tiny little bead that this tool makes. So if it's too small for your design, you can always come in and put a crimp cover on top of that if you need that bead to be, you know, a little bit bigger. But generally, I think it's just beautiful. Okay, I always save my little scraps of soft flex, because if you want to make like little hoop earrings or anything, it's perfect for that. And so this little bracelet is done, and it's like the loveliest little stringing project. But I was looking at it when I had the interruption, and I decided I wanted to add a little something more here. So I am using these ball head pins from the Beadbox Bargains website. I've had them in my stash. They're stainless steel, and it's just a little gold ball. And I took my pliers and made like the tiniest little simple loop here. And I'm just going to open that, and I'm going to thread it onto this jump ring in between my two leaves. And it's like a little miniature charm section on the bracelet, but it just has dimension and movement. It's like a little bouquet of flowers right in the center of this bracelet, flowers and leaves. And if you're a fidgeter, you have a little something to play with and a little something that makes noise as it travels around your wrist. I really love the way it turned out, but I'm not done. I do want to add some charms down here on this end. And I'm also going to make earrings, as I said, but I don't know if this has happened to any of you, but I had in my marquee link package, one of my links was kind of strange. It was smaller and a little bit different shape than the other three. So I'm going to use two for my earrings, but I decided to turn this little odd one into a charm for my bracelet. And then I have taken just a scrap piece of 20 gauge wire and put a simple loop in the bottom, and I've just kind of repeated these elements with that little flower bead cap and one of the rhodonite beads. And maybe let me just try and see what this looks like. Oh, that's really lovely, just that little dot of gold. And I'm going to take my one-step looper and just put a simple loop on this side. So this is the 1.5 millimeter. It's the smallest one, and I'm just going to feed that wire through the guide hole in the back and get my beads. I close it just ever so slightly. I'm really just closing it enough to hold this in place so that I can see where my bead is. It's a tiny bit close. Just back it off a little bit. And then when I close the tool, it makes a cut right here. Nice fresh blunt cut, so you don't have to do that step with your cutters. And then I can see it making the loop, but now the loop needs to be centered on the wire. So I'm just going to pull that whole component down and complete closing it. And now I have this perfect loop, and the loop is centered on my component. And when I take it away, I have this lovely little simple loop. Really beautiful, and I like to tidy it up and work hard, and it's just the nature of the tool. And I'm going to take another one of these pretty diamond cut gold filled jump rings. Just get my little charms on the jump ring. And so I'm going to go back to what I was saying. So I've got a little kink. There we go. I'm going to attach this over the whole circumference of the stringing material. Let me reposition my pliers. I won't be able to close it like that. And close it really well, and I'll show you what that does. So now, no matter which way I put my bracelet on, my charms will go around 360 degrees. So they just flow nicely. They don't get kinked. On this one, let's see, on this one, because of it being 6-strand, I didn't do that, but normally that is what I do. And so no matter which way I put my bracelet on, my charms are landing just beautifully where I can see them. And this bracelet is done, and I just think it is lovely. It's so dimensional for being just a one-line bracelet. I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. So we're going to move on to the earrings. Let me clean up a bit. Okay, all cleaned up. I can put links in the description box of my gold-filled diamond cut jump rings and also these gold-filled spacer beads if you're interested in having them for your own work. And I'm going to move on to a really simple but stunning pair of earrings. So for the earrings, I'm going to use these 2 sizes of my one-step looper. I'm going to use the 1.5 millimeter loop for the connection that goes onto this little marquee link. And then I'm going to go to the 2.25 millimeter size for the connection that goes through the top of this leaf. And let me just show you on my bracelet, that's what I had to do for this little component here. And I'm essentially going to be making this as my earring and attaching it to the marquee. So you can see that for the spacing here on this leaf bead, you need a larger loop. So I'm going to essentially be doing that so that my earrings coordinate. I'm going to close it. It makes a blunt cut, and it makes the loop for you, and then I'm going to pull that wire down, and I can see that it's centered on that loop. Okay, I can go ahead and open this and add it to my marquee. And close it. So now I can stack my beads, and I'm going to just repeat some of the exact elements that I did in my bracelet. I see that I have a little funny end on my wire here. So I'm going to do one of those little gold spacer beads, a rhodonite bead, and this little bead here. And now I need to make sure that my loops are going in the same direction. But now I'm going to switch to my 2.25 millimeter one-step looper and just feed that in, and I'll gently close it so I can get my spacing. I want a little bit of space between this jaw of the tool and, you know, my beads or my stack. And then I'm just going to close it, and before I close it all the way, just pull my little grouping down away so that I'm not putting pressure on the rest of my component. And now I'm just going to add my leaf, attach my leaf. So I'll open that simple loop pretty wide, and I might have my orientation wrong because there is a front and a back to these leaf beads, but that is a simple fix. Let me attach it first and then we'll have a look. Let's see. So can you see my leaf is not facing forward? So that is a simple fix. I'm going to put my pliers on one loop and then take my other pliers. Let's see, they have to go like this, and then take my other pliers and just straighten that loop out. Let me just get in there and just turn it. And I can see I need to close it a little bit better as well. Okay, now, whoops, backwards. Now it's facing the right direction. What a sweet little earring. And if you'll notice, there is no ear wire because I have these interchangeable lever back gold filled ear wires. they have that little space in there, and this was the pair that I was wearing today. And what I do is just slip those off. I have about three or four of these kind of in my jewelry tray with my interchangeable drops that I've created. And that's all you do is slip your drop in, put it in your ear, and snap the back closed. And that's all you do. You have this little simple, easy to change out earring. And for jewelry makers who we get all these bead boxes and we get, we make a lot of earrings and a lot of drops, it's nice not to need an ear wire every single time. And it's so pretty and so fun and flirty. And I always feel like I am dressed if I have mascara and a nice pair of earrings, and then if I have a coordinating bracelet, that's even better. So I'm going to do that exact same thing on the second earring. Just start with the smaller one step loop and put the first loop in. And my second earring is done, just that fast. And I have this beautiful little set this morning, which I'm so happy that I had this lovely project to come home to after a little bit of a difficult few days this week. So I am going to put some pictures up at the end. I will also put links in the description box. If you are not subscribed to the Bargain Bead Box, I really don't know how jewelry people can live without it. I do have a discount code. I'll put that in the description box of this video as well. And when you subscribe, you will get a discount code on the insert. So you get an insert in the box every month with a list of all the items that come in the box. And on the back of this paper is a discount code to go on the sister website, Beadbox Bargains, and get 30% off your order, and you can use it over and over again as many times as you want each month. And so a lot of the findings, like my clasp and my ball head pins, a lot of those things are available on the sister website, and it's just a fabulous resource for jewelry people. So I will put those links in the description box, as well as my tools and anything else that I've used that I think you might be interested in for your own work. Those links will be there for your convenience. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would greatly appreciate it. It's a really nice way to support my work. It doesn't cost you anything or obligate you to anything. So, tap that bell notification and give me a thumbs up. That would also be greatly appreciated. So I hope everybody is safe and well and having fun on your beading mats, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao, jewelry making friends.